Four simple things on the list, and then we attempt to fire and hopefully drive the Baremetal 55. Let's get to it. Welcome back to a messy Montana garage. I got old parts, I got wires, I got boxes, I got tools, I got stuff I cut off, I got cords, engines, I got stuff everywhere. I actually cleaned up a little bit, but as you can tell, I didn't put a lot of effort into it. I picked up, the major stuff that was right here. That was about it. But like I said, we got 4 things left. We are so close on this whole engine tranny swap that, today's the day. We're actually going to try to fire this thing up. Let's get to those 4 things. We'll do that real quick. They're pretty simple things. We're not going to have any headaches or head scratching, I don't think. Although I shouldn't have said that. Cross my fingers that we're all good to go on these 4 little things. And then we will throw some power and some gas at this thing and see what happens. Oh, that bad boy is tight. What the actual frick?
Okay, well, I thought I wasn't going to have any problems.
Whew. I think we're officially done with everything under the car. Well, that was the 4 things. Drive shaft and add fluid to transmission, radiator, and oil to the engine. So we are basically ready to see what's going to happen. We're just going to do a few last minute checks before we turn the key on or add any power. So I got this wire hooked up and covered, coils plugged in, oil pressure fitting is on. I should maybe do these 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5 inside 1, 7's right next to it, and then this goes back to 2. All right, all the plug wires look right. This comes with a little cap. I had a hard time getting it on, so I went without it before. I didn't even try it on this one, I guess. But linkage, spring works. I'm not gonna stick to wide open throttle. We got our temperature sender in and tight and sealed. We just added fluids. There's no oil or radiator fluid on the ground yet, so that's good. I haven't added any fuel yet. We'll do that here in a second when we turn some power on. Plugs are all plugged in. Starter looks hooked up. Wires going to the box. That I never unplugged and never ungrounded it. I think everything up here is good. Now what we'll do next is we're gonna, I got the battery disconnected. We'll connect the battery. And then make sure, I did do a little wiring, so I'm gonna make sure we're not letting any smoke out of any wires. And then we'll flip the switch on. And then we will probably turn the fuel pump on, let this all fuel up, check for fuel leaks. And we're supposed to check the float level. So we'll check all that out. And then I wanna make sure that the wiring I did the transmission is good. So before we try to start it, we'll make sure, hopefully, it will try to start, and I didn't screw something up with that neutral safety switch wiring, but we'll kind of do some checks on that. And then this thing has been dyno tested and run. The instructions are to check the float level and check the timing. So I got my timing light out over there. Before we fire it up, we'll get that hooked up. He just said that these MSD boxes, sometimes when you hook a different box up, it can change the timing a little bit. It should be good, but we're supposed to check it. It's set at 34. I thought, when I first initially talked to the guy, I thought he did tell me that they'd have it locked out. They do not have the distributor locked out. It still has the little spring stuff in there. But I called them back again, and they said, however it came is how it should be. So I left it alone, and we just got to double check the timing. So, all right, let's turn some power on, see what happens. All right, switch is off. So really, nothing should happen here. No sparkies or anything. That's always a good sign. Leave this wrench back here in case we have an emergency to get that bad boy off. We shouldn't. I mean, you know, like I said in the other one, I worry too much about this stuff, but better safe than sorry, right? Somewhere I should have test light. So even with the switch off, we should still have power right here right now. Bam. All right. So far, so good. So that's where we'll hook our timing light up. All right. So now I guess we'll turn the switch on and hope nothing catches on fire. I mean, everything should be good, you know, but I'm always, you know, I did a bunch of wiring around the shifter there. Had to cut into some stuff under the dash to link all that together. And then, of course, we messed with the starter and that sort of stuff. But everything seems good. So I guess we'll turn the key on, which should activate the fuel pump. And then we'll check for some leaks up here. All right, should be loud noise. All right, fuel pump still works. I didn't mess with any fuel fittings anywhere except for right up here. Got fuel in the carburetor. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not an expert, but front one seems like it could be a little lower. I think we want them like right in the middle of the sight glass, right? So I might turn that down just a hair. I'm sure it's probably fine, but let's do that real quick. All right, we'll double check this when it's running, because I mean, I think you're supposed to do this with the car running, but I guess with the electric fuel pump, it should be about the same, right? Anyways, I can, if it's high, just sitting there, it's probably too high. I should have a bigger screwdriver probably. I think I got to go this way to lower it. And I don't know if I went enough to do anything. All right, so we should have squirtage. We got squirtage, so there's gas in there. So I want to check a couple things with the ignition. All right, neutrality. Fuel pump we already know works. I'm just gonna bump it and see, make sure we actually are getting power to the starter beans. I messed with the neutral switch. All right, so we got that. Now I'm gonna put it in gear and bump it, and it shouldn't do anything. By golly, I must have done it right. See if my line lock light comes on. All right, all that stuff seems to look like it works anyways. Get this timing light hooked up, and we'll see what happens. All right, so we're almost ready. This thing's been fired up before, so I don't need to like prime the fuel pump, but I think I'm gonna spin it over for a second without fire and see if I can see some oil pressure. Neutrality, fuel pump, crankage. Not seeing any oil pressure, but maybe I'm not gonna see it till we fire it, huh? One more try. Still nothing there. Yep, I'm gonna fire it, see if it'll fire. Just watch for oil pressure right away. Here goes nothing. Oil pressure. So obviously we got to make a little adjustment to the carburetor to keep it running or something. But she fired. Huh. And we had good oil pressure. I'm just gonna leave everything like it is and try again. Can't get out here fast enough to keep it running. It just needs to warm up. I need to give it more idle. Run at all as soon as I let it off. All right, I'm gonna idle it up a little bit. Look at that float level with it running. It might actually be a hair low. Ooh, that was tight. Those look better. Money. Oil pressure, she's not too hot. All right, I played with the carburetor a little bit. I've messed with the air fuel, the idle mixture screws, and I'm not an expert, but I use my really old ears to try to just listen. YouTube comments, thank you for the best, rhythm or how it makes it sound the best, I guess. So I know you can use a vacuum gauge also, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess this carburetor, yeah, it's got at least one vacuum port down there. I don't know if it's... Anyways, I messed with that. I'll get some expert help at some point, but one thing I forgot to check is, let's see, neutrality, reversey, and shouldn't start there, and it doesn't, but I want to see if my reverse lights work. That was another, oh, I see shinage. Well, bam. Man, I'm good. Man, I am so tempted to get this thing down off the ramps and go out there. But I got paperwork to do for work. I got to get done tonight. Dang it. Hopefully the weather stays nice and maybe tomorrow we'll go for a little vroom vroom. But I got a little bit of time left. I will clean up my mess in here. And I guess seems how my wiring checked out, I can put that shifter boot on. All right, I spent the last little bit of time I had out here posting stuff on Instagram and texting people videos and stuff. So I didn't get any more work done. Shifter boot is still not installed. I have to go inside and do paperwork. I have to do stuff for work tomorrow. So yeah, exciting that I got it going. I wish I could drive it. I mean, it's all I got to do is unjack it or jack it off the blocks. And I mean, assuming the clutch works and everything, I should be able to drive it. So that'll be coming up real soon. So stick around. All right. It's been a couple days, but I am back out in the Montana garage. I haven't been back out here since we brought the old small block to life. That was it Friday? I don't know. It was a couple days ago. It's Sunday now. I had to work and do some other stuff, yada, yada, yada. But we're back today, and I wanted to try to take this thing for a drive, but I forgot there's a couple things I want to do. Or one thing I really need to do before we do that is I never checked the pinion or the driveline angle. I feel like with the new combination that the engine is, maybe the tail shaft of the tranny is down that way, a little further than it was before. That's just my, I don't know, that's my intuition or my feeling just based on how it looks. And I know there's the, the transmission mount, the rubber was a little shorter. So I feel like the engine might be a little down. I got to crawl under there and find a way to check the angles so I can try to get it back to kind of how it was. I don't want to mess with the rear end, obviously. I know a guy can put shims in there or whatever. It's all welded. You know, the perches are all welded for how I had it before. So hopefully I can make the transmission match, which is if I have to raise it up, I can just put some spacers either on the center of the transmission mount or on the sides where the cross member goes. I'll figure something out, but I want to crawl under there and just verify. Maybe we're good. I don't know. I got to figure that out. We got to put the shifter boot on, and then the weather's not great today, but it's not snowing. It snowed yesterday. So we have a little bit of mud in the driveway, but nothing we can't deal with. So maybe here in a couple hours, we'll take this thing out and see if we can feel a little of the power and see what the old TKX 5-speed feels like. Can't wait. I got to put these on too. These are the steering stops. So hopefully when we go to full lock, I'm going to make it stop just before the steering arm or the steering cross shaft, whatever it's called. It hits the oil pan. So we got to put the steering stops on. And then when we drive it, we'll find out if that's going to work or if I'm going to be, I don't think I'm giving anything up like I said before, but I'm giving up just a little teeny tiny bit of turning, so hopefully it's still going to be good to go. Find out soon enough. I checked this pinion angle. I think I'm good to go. I'm going to crawl in here with you guys and show you what I did. You guys can tell me if I did it right or wrong, or there's really, and I don't know what you guys are looking at because I can't see you and what I'm doing at the same time, but there's not really any good flat spots on this transmission. I tried measuring off the shifter. I'm not sure if that was good, but what I did is I got the yoke and the pinion both kind of parallel or parallel to the ground. And I put this guy on here and got it to 0-ish, like this way. I don't know what you guys can see. And now I'm using this flat spot on the yoke here for my measurement. So stick that guy on the flat spot. And it was between, around 3.5. Can you guys see that? Somebody tell me if you can see that. So then I'm going to zero that. You can just do math too, but well, let's see. I bumped it. And it's hard to, within a point or two, it's hard to tell because, all right, get it where I feel like it's pretty flat on there. 3.5. If you just bump it a hair, it moves it. But 3.5 is the most consistent number I was getting before. So I zeroed it at that. You can stick that back on there and see, it's hard to repeat, like I'm 0.1. If you have it on the angle, that's different, but I usually get pretty close to 0 again. So that's the transmission angle. Then down here on the pinion, you stick it on the flat spot on the pinion here. And I don't know if you can see that, 2.5. So 2.5 down. So I'm 2.5 degrees down from compared to what I am up there. And, I messed with that quite a few times. I'm getting anywhere, I get 2.3, 2.7 in that ballpark. So I don't remember kind of where I had it set before. I think around 2. I looked at the Caltrax website because that's what I'm running leaf springs with Caltrax. They say -2 to -4. So I'm kind of right in that sweet spot between there. So I'm going to call it good. Like I said, I don't know if I did that right. I think I did it right. It's hard to be super accurate, but I think we're in the ballpark, at least close enough to drive it. And if we feel some sort of weird vibrations, then we can think about rethinking it. But I think we're good. little tough to get the rubber thingamabobber in here, at least for me. I'd rather not poke a hole in it. What's the trick, guys? Be smarter than a piece of rubber? That's why I'm struggling. Seems like if it's up here, it's easier because the shifter stick is smaller, or it should be easier, but it don't seem to actually be. Frick. Maybe I needed to do it before I even put it on. We'll be back if I ever get it on. Well, I can't get it on there, so I'm gonna see if I can get it on by taking everything off first. I was worried about being able to get them wires through there if I do it this way, but I can't get the rubber boot on first way. It might be because of those wires that I can't get it in there, I guess. Oops, see, look, I poked a hole in it. Perfect. All right, well, this is working a little better. So apparently, you should put this chrome dealy bobber on here before you put it on the stick. I thought I had to do it the other way, or maybe it wouldn't go on the stick, but I guess we're getting ready to find out if that's the case. My wires through first, I guess. Let's see, it goes this way. Wires under there. Lock ring back on. Every 5-minute job takes at least an hour, it seems like. Now we gotta go roundy round with this as this goes. Lock that bad boy in place. Yeah, let's see. All right, now I gotta plug this back in before I forget to do that. Slide her on down. Oh, and perfect. Haha! The little rubber came out of the center again. That's why I took the whole thing apart to get that in there. And I give up. Finally, the shifter boot is installed. Surprise, it was a struggle. And then I got it all together and I tested the old line lock button here, and it didn't work. And the wires go right through here, and I thought I had them off to the side where the screw wasn't gonna hit them, and it didn't work. Then I had to take it all back apart and see. I thought, well, I must hit that wire with the screw, and it didn't look like it did. And then I tested the wires, and it was hot coming to that point, but the switch wasn't working. And then I tested the switch, and the switch was working. I don't know, I put it all back together and it works. I must have just had a bad connection, or I don't know, just enough to make me have to take it all apart after I got it all together and do it again. Anywho, now we're on to steering stops. Something that sent me the wrong ones first. These are not right. Let's see if I can send those back. These ones are right. So this little guy will go where the ball joint mounts, and when the steering hits, it'll hit this face and stop it. So hopefully we're gonna have enough steering. All right, let's go over to the car and figure these bad boys out. So we took the two lower ball joint bolts out, and then we stuck that little right there, that guy on there. And then when the steering comes across, there's no good way to show this. This little flat spot right here, which is on the original steering arm or steering knuckle, whatever it's called. This is original 55 piece. This little guy here, if I put this on right, is going to run into this, and then this adjusts a little bit. So we're going to jack it up, crank the wheels over, and then set this so it hits this just before this guy hits the oil pan. All right, now we got it up in the air. Let's see how we can figure out what's hitting where. Let's see. I don't know if that's the right way actually for that side. Must be. All right, so if you look down there between the headers somewhere, see the steering arm hitting the oil pan. So we need to adjust this guy right here. Oh, you're kidding me. It doesn't adjust far enough. So this plan is not gonna work. Bummer. Well, I guess means the steering stop idea isn't working. I'm probably gonna have to do something with this oil pan, but I'm gonna go back to my plan of I'm just gonna drive it like this. If I'm not losing, you know, the steering that I need, which it doesn't, I mean, it seems like it turns almost as far as it's going to turn. So I think those steering steps, that's probably why you don't really need them, because they're pretty much useless. But if it does turn far enough, I can weld another, plate on the face of that steering arm guy. I can make this guy, I can weld that another plate on there to make it contact just before it does. And that's still going to be easier than dropping the oil pan or something. So I'm going to drive it like this eventually, and we'll see what the steering's like. But again, I'm not optimistic. Probably gonna have to take the oil pan off. All right, well, I messed around and did a couple other small things. I threw my drive shaft loop and it still fit. Unfortunately, it's not, it's like 12 inches back from the front drive shaft or front U-joint. I think it's got to be within 6 inches of the center line on the front U-joint. It still fit as far as the angle of the drive shaft and everything, so I threw it back in there. I figured it's better not having one, but I will have to redo that before race week or before I go racing, because that's I don't know, I'll have to look and see how fast you go before that's required. I mean, I put it in there because I was trying to do everything I needed to go 10 seconds. I'm still not going to go 10 seconds, but so maybe if that's not required till then, I don't need it, but I think I probably do need that. It's like 11 something. Anyways, I'll look that up. Probably have to redo it, but it's good enough for now. What else did I do? I just kind of cleaned up some of my tools and got some of the garbage out of here. Straightened up a little bit of the stuff over here. I had to add a little more oil and a little more coolant to the car. And I guess I'm kind of done messing around. The weather is pretty crappy. It's not snowing, but it's blowing and it's getting pretty nasty out there. So I don't know if I'm going to drive the car, but I am going to get it down off the ramps and see if, well, I know it works as far as starting and running, but I haven't done anything. You haven't used the clutch yet. So I'm going to get her off the ramps. We can start it up, let it warm up, and then, do a little shifting into gear and see if the clutch is going to need any adjustment on the release thing, or make sure it works and releases and doesn't grind and make all kinds of crazy noises like happened one other time for me. So let's figure that out. All right, oh shoot, I forgot did I forget the power? No, I didn't forget the power. I forgot what I didn't forget already. All right, let's fire this thing up and see what happens with the little clutch action. Still works, that's a good thing. Not quite idle yet. I wonder if it just needs to warm up. Need to make some more carburetor adjustments probably. All right, clutch in. First gear. I would like it to release a little lower, but that's reverse. All right, so I'm going to crawl underneath before it gets too hot, before the headers and stuff get too hot. I'd like it to release a little bit lower. All right, I adjusted the clutch a little bit. And I guess we're going for a maiden voyage. Oh, hey, reverse is over here now. Accidentally push the line lock button. That's the second time I've done that, put it in first when I thought I was going in reverse, so hopefully I can get used to that before too long. Everybody knows that if you've done an engine swap, that you got to drive the car for a little while without the hood back on it, right? I think it's like a rule. All right, now we got first. Speedometer cable's making some funky action. Got brakes. So I idled this thing up because it won't idle when it's cold, but once it warms up, so I'm gonna have to keep her idled down a little bit. Didn't take long to hit the old red light there, or the old shift light. No, it won't even jump out of second gear when I'm driving. Bonus. Holy! Oh yeah! All right, that speedometer cable's got to go. That's for sure. Better go back and get rid of that thing or unhook it. All right, so speedometer issues, and she's idling a little high. Other than that, I'm like McDonald's. I'm loving it. Whatever they say. First and second drives in the books. I went back out after getting rid of the speedometer cable. I just unhooked it and then zip tied it to a brace underneath the dash. I probably need a new odometer or the whole gauge panel. Maybe I can take it apart and spray some lube in there or something, but I was not happy. And I made a couple little, well, all I did was mess with the idle a little bit because it wouldn't, I think I had it idled too high. Then I turned it down a little bit, and then the wife and I went for another drive, went and put some gas in it, went through town, and I had it too low and it would just die as soon as I stopped. So I think it's more than just the idle because I barely touch it, and it either idles 1100 or it goes down to like 700 or 800, but then it won't keep running. So I'm going to go through, being it's warm now, and get the vacuum gauge out so I can adjust the idle air mixture screws. I did it by ear, but I'm probably not an expert at that. So I'll try it with the vacuum gauge, see if that helps, see if that makes any difference. First impressions, wow. She's got some power. I mean, you know, it's like 500 some horsepower, so it's not like I'm lighting the world on fire, but it's more than I'm used to. You got to be on top of first gear. I mean, I didn't really even get on it too much, but like, you know, I wrapped it out and gave her the old gas a little bit. And first gear, like boom, like that, it's on the rev limiter. So yeah, it's going to be fun. I haven't really, like I said, I just kind of, you know, second gear and got on it a little bit, and barely even got into fifth gear. I probably never went over 45 miles an hour, so I didn't really need it, but I had to try it, right? Also, I don't know how to shift a TKX. So every time I go to reverse, I put it in first gear because that's over and up on the old 4-speed. And then every time I try to take off, I put it in fourth gear because that's just, or third gear, because that's just straight up. You got to go over and up for first gear. So I'm sure the old muscle memory from the T10 will disappear and the TKX muscle memory will take hold soon after a little bit of driving. But oh man, I dig it. I'm going to adjust the carburetor. I don't know if I'll have time to get back out again tonight, but we will do some more driving before this video is over. Next day, back out in the Montana garage after work, and I should probably be cleaning up a little bit. I still have stuff everywhere, but there's always time for that. I got a couple hours out here tonight, so I want to address a couple things, or probably only time for one thing that I noticed from the drive. I did drive it again last night, took the wife to dinner. So that was cool. I got to drive this thing like 500 miles before I can really get rowdy with it. So I'm going to be driving this thing whenever I can. So one thing I forgot to mention in my drives, I did notice and pay attention to the steering, like the steering cross shaft hits the oil pan just before full lock. And like I mentioned, I was correct. It doesn't really affect it. Like I can turn as sharp as I need to turn. I went and turned around in a cul-de-sac. I can park. I can back out of the driveway. I think it hits just right before it would stop anyways. So that said, I still don't want that cross shaft hitting the oil pan. So I am going to reinstall these steering stops that I tried to install. They just don't hit. So I'm going to have to put them back on and see how much thickness I need. I think I need about another 3/16. So I'll find a piece of scrap metal in the old disaster pile over there. And we'll just weld it to this face, make it a little thicker, however thick we need to make it so that we can make the steering stops hit that just before the cross shaft hits the oil pan. So that's one thing I need to work on. The other thing, I already mentioned this speedometer cable, and you probably heard it squeals like, I don't even know, it squeals like a stuck pig, whatever. It's loud, it's obnoxious, and I just unhooked it and I was like, whatever. But I would like to have a speedometer for a change. I mean, like I said, I got to drive this thing 500 miles. I'd like to be able to keep track of it. And so I think what I'm going to do, there's something moved. That gap never used to be that big. Oh, my door's not open. Or my door's not shut. Fixed it. Anyways, easily distracted. What was I talking about? Oh, I'd like to have a speedometer. So I did a little research, and a lot of times I guess they can be lubed. So I also wanted to turn the odometer back to 0, but then I didn't really I decided it wasn't worth taking it all apart. I got the tachometer in the way and whatnot. But now that I got to try to make the speedometer work, I think it shouldn't be that big of a deal to take this apart, pull that out of there, and then there's a little spot you put some lube and hope for the best. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to take that apart and see if we can free up that speedometer and have more smooth needle action and less squealing action. That would be sweet. All right, obviously we got to get the gauge cluster out of there. I have an extra step of getting the tachometer out of the way. That I think in my case is just held with zip ties. But once we get that out of there, should be a screw down here, a couple screws in there. I have updated wiring, so the wiring will unplug, and we should be able to pull that thing out of there. Let's see if we can make that happen. As you can see here, I made some footage of disassembling the gauge cluster, and what I'm trying to do is show you guys how to lube up the speedometer, which is supposed to make it work again. In my case, it did not work. Unfortunately, as I was crawling around under the dash to get the gauge cluster out, my microphone fell off, so I have no audio for any of this footage here. While it was in there, I also learned how to reset the odometer to 0, which is kind of a neat thing to know if you're doing a project like this and maybe you want to start at 0. So I will have to tear this apart one more time because I ordered a new speedometer. Once I'm in there, I will show you guys one more time where you lube it and how to reset the odometer to 0 in case that's something you want to do. But for now, enough of the nonsense. Let's get to driving the car, huh? Pretty nice day. We better take this thing for a cruise. I thought it was the speedometer making that weird noise, but I'm almost wondering if it's something in the steering column now because it quits when I hold pressure on it. Unhook that cable and find out, I guess. I guess I showed you guys, I took the speedometer all apart to try to make speedometer work, and I don't think I mentioned it because I forgot my camera the first time I went for a drive afterwards, but this main squealing from the first drive went away, but the speedometer still does not work. It goes, it kind of bounces around a little bit when you get up to speed, and then once you hit about 50, it pegs to 110. So I ordered a new speedometer. It was supposed to be here a couple days ago. It ended up being on back order, so we'll see when it shows up. reminds me, I've been keeping track of my miles on this bad boy. Fourth gear, 3,500 RPM, 60 miles an hour. But wait, there's more. Now we're at 2,600 RPM, 68 miles an hour. Gotta love a TKX, baby. We're still on take it easy mode here. We'll run through the gears a little bit when we take off here. For video purposes, video experimentational purposes. Something, I don't know. Because I can. She got a little squirrely there.
Kid in the old Ford truck who thought he wanted to play around. Now I got some kid on a crotch rocket that wants to try to make things in. No traction. Hold Instagram.
Not sure I got any of that. She's got a little hop to her, doesn't she?
Talk or don't talk?
Talk.
Should have put the microphone on. I was gonna talk. Hopefully this one will get it.
I don't
Little
even.
line moving.
I don't know. I don't even know if I have it on, to be honest with you.
I think it looks like it's on there.
Okay.
So yeah, we're just out for a cruise in the car. It's I've probably got 100 miles on it now. I didn't film much of my other driving, but we're just out for a little cruise tonight. And still kind of in take it easy mode, but as far as breaking things in, but a lot of people are giving the thumbs up and liking the car, and it's just super fun to drive. So excited to see how she does when we finally get to test her out. So we're going into downtown Bozeman. Maybe we'll see something cool. Come on, hold the camera steady. Something must be going on down here today.
Kind of cool coming into town.
Surprisingly, a nice day like this, I haven't really seen any other hot rods out. I think people be itching to get out. Corvette. Monster truck. Street music action. Just like the big city.
I think it looks kind of cool. I got the hood, like a little bit of that top of the engine in it. A little creative photography here. down for ice cream. You can see a ton of people in there. That's our little Bozeman Main Street.
Hey, thanks a ton for going along for a ride in the new and improved Baremetal 55. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you think of the new combination. I'm over here digging it. Anyways, see you next time here in Montana Garage. Out.